Hari Om. Welcome to the next session of the Holy Gita. And yesterday we have seen the twofold path and the result, isn't it? What is the twofold path? One is to give up what? All the forces with which the mind flows out towards the objects. Or, in other words, to restrain the mind. Correct. To control the mind. Yes, good. What is the second path? The second path is to what? To stay in the self. After withdrawing what? To stay put in the self, not to slip off into tamas, not to slide into lethargy and laziness. No. Just to be with the self. Correct. Then we know what it is. Now, this is the first line. The second line gives the result. What is the result? For any action, as per even the science, the Newton's third law, it says every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Correct. So now action has been done. What are the actions? One is withdrawing, other one is to stay put in the self. In this action, the result would be the person who has done these two acquires firm knowledge of the self. There's no doubt about being self-realized. That is what we have seen yesterday as AB, correct? Or EKB or CCA. Right? If you remember. If you didn't, please go back and listen to the previous episode. Right? So now with this, he doesn't continue. Now he says, in case if we don't follow the first and second, okay, if we do this, this happens. In case we don't follow that, if we don't withdraw our senses, and then if we are not abiding or if you're not devoted on him, then what happens is the question. Even for children, we say, isn't it? Boys or children, if you study well and do good perseverance in our academics, then you will become like this. In case if you don't, then you will show the other side. You will show both the sides of the coin for the children, isn't it? It is not to threaten them, it is only to show them the right path where they choose on their own will, then they should walk. Only then there is joy. Enforcement will not work anywhere. Enforcement will not work. Every day keep on telling them 100 times, it will not work. They should get it from inside. Yes, I have to call. Yes, I have to study. Yes, these things it should arise from inside. Or else, just because the force they will sit in front of the books, but the eyes may not be going through the lines and the mind may not be absorbing what the eyes are reading. Correct? So though they sit for hours together, the end result is the same because there is no coordination between the eyes and the mind. The coordination happens only when the mind has a vision. And in that vision, whatever mission the mind undertakes, that will be successful. isn't it? So if the child has a vision, yes, I have to study, I have to secure good marks, I should not struggle like what I see. I should start off from the next pedestal from where my parents are, whatever. If that vision comes into their mind, then the mission automatically follows. Correct. So here he said, okay, friends, this is how it is. Withdraw the senses, stay put in yourself, you will be realized. Krishna said the first part. Second part, if you don't withdraw your senses, and if the mind goes his whims and fancies, and if you don't stay in your own self, then what happens? We'll see in 262. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषोपजायते सङ्गा सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते. So now you know the reason. We'll see what he means by dhyayate. Dhyayataha. So now we'll see the word by word meaning as we do always. So he says, in case if the mind is not withdrawn, or dhyayataha, if it keeps on contemplating, what? You see, in yesterday's verse and the previous verse, you are seeing the mind is withdrawn and contemplates on the God or on the self, realization happens. The firm knowledge of the Supreme gets established. Now, here he says, Dhyayataha, if one contemplates on what? Vishayan, on the objects of senses. How to make a pastry, how to make money, how to gain name and fame. All these things are going outside. Then, Pumsaha, that person, Sangaha, gets attached. Attachment gets developed. On what? Teshu, on them, on those objects on which he is constantly contemplating, thinking, and reveling about. He gets attachment to them. Upajayate, and there arises. What arises there? What arises there? Sangat, from the attachments. Sanjayate is born. Arises with it. So what is born? What arises? Kamaha, desire. And what? Kamat. From Kamat, okay. Kamat, okay. Kaman has floated on the surface of the mind. Then what? From Kamat, Krodha, anger, Abhijayate is born. So now we see the link. If the mind flows with the thoughts and contemplates on things of attachments. What are attachments? That I constantly, perennially want to be with is attachment. Correct. Perennially on with what I want to be with is attachment. And you know how attachment comes into being? Drushya, by seeing. There is a person who has an institute. He sees his own brother with a bigger institute. Then he wants to grow to that stature. It happens by constantly seeing or by comparing. I am here, he is there. Compare. That's always good. Comparison is required for growth, but not with others. Compare with your own self. Compare with one's own self. That is the real growth. Or else Irsha comes into being. There are certain people, They don't work, and if others work, they get jealous, they get angry. Look at that krodha. Why is that krodha coming? Because of attachment. Attachment of what? Attachment of doing that they are unable to do. Reasons are different. Reasons can be anything. They may say, I don't have the infrastructure, I don't have this, my health is not working. That reasons are many, my dear friends. The mind is so intelligent, so cunning that it gives a number of reasons to escape or to justify. When you see somebody doing or progressing, you should be happy and proud of them. Call them and appreciate. Wow, you are doing a wonderful job. I appreciate. Yes, God, what is there? Why to feel jealous? Why to feel anger about that? Think. Or keeping away from, then developing inferiority complex. I am not in a position to do. All these things arises only because of desire. Kama. From kama arises this. You're understanding? ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गात्तेषोपजायते सङ्गा सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते. So now you know the seat of anger, how anger arises. Whenever you lose your temper, understand the problem is not with the other person. The problem is with one's own self. The problem is with me. That should what we should realize. Not blaming. You did that. You irritated me. Blah 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 blah. Okay. A B C irritates. Why should I get irritated? You getting irritated is in your mind. Think. Correct? So this we'll see in detail tomorrow. And the next verse is also a continuation of this. And from anger, what all happens? That we'll see later. Thanks for tuning. Stay put, stay home, stay safe. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru.